Peace to the family. So today I want to talk to you about wealth perception and poverty distortion. I think that'd be a real good conversation today. Wealth perception and poverty distortion. And the reason I want to talk to y'all about that is because a lot of us have been in great error when it comes to investment strategies. And the reason why I'm telling you that we've been in error when it comes to investment strategies is because we haven't learned nothing throughout the course of our school year. And you know, I was just talking to a good friend of mine on the phone, and so the conversation came up, and he's like, man, why do you think a lot of your brothers and sisters have such an issue with you in light of the fact that you left the community? And in one sense, I never left the community, if we're going to talk about the information. Peace to the family. I see y'all in there. Melzina Johnson, peace. Waiting for a phone call. You might have to leave your phone number. A lot of you send me emails, and I always tell you, if you send me an email, always leave your phone number. That saves us the trouble, because we see your email, hey, I'm interested in such and such. And the next thing we got to do is please leave your phone number. So always leave your full name and your phone number whenever you send us an email when you're interested about whatever it is we talk about. Of course, for the mentorship program, it costs. You go to brotherpolight45@gmail.com. That's brother, POLIGHT 45@gmail.com. And of course, for the consultations are $200 an hour, or $300 an hour if we're talking to each other in person. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Doing my thing. Some of y'all saw me on Instagram Live last night at my club. We was litty. It's a real great experience. You know, and I'm gonna just keep compounding interest on things that I invest in to come up. But I want to talk to you today about not just investments in general, but just the understanding of what it means and represents to invest, or the distinction amongst a standardized or conventional investment, and then there's expeditious, long-term investments. And a lot of us are afraid of long-term investments, but those are the ones that really are hitting. But it takes a great deal of maturity and what I like to say, patient money when it comes to long-term investments. Oh, you're welcome for the information, Nicole Brown. Thank you for the appreciation. So, you know, there's a lot that I want to talk to you all about. One is how wealth builds perspective as well as perception. And then poverty creates distortion. So I want to talk about wealth perception and poverty distortions. And this all comes in light of the fact that we are not learning what we should be learning at the most integral ages of our life. That's what the problem is. Okay? That's what the problem is. And I'm going to explain it to you. You go to school. I can't stress this enough. You go to school from pre-K to 12th grade, and you don't learn nothing about food, clothing, and shelter. That's a problem. It's an absolute problem. You don't learn nothing about food, clothing, and shelter. So what does that tell you? You don't come out of school being a seamstress. You don't come out of school knowing how to crochet. You might have had a home ec class or two and you made pizza at the most. And of course they told you nothing about holistic health. And then most importantly, they taught you nothing about real estate, and they taught you nothing about credit. So by the time someone of this complexion starts expounding on things that you never heard of before, the first thing most people are likely to say is, well, how is it that you know and other people didn't know? That's what they say. Be sure to share this video while I'm teaching. The wind too loud, don't worry about it. I'll talk louder. Okay? But listen to me carefully. The main reason that we're struggling is because during all those years of schooling, from our early adolescence into adulthood, no one prepared us for life. School should be predicated upon the essentials, namely food, clothing, and shelter. But unfortunately, it's almost as if you got to get high school degree, post-high school degree, is when you start learning about food, clothing, and shelter. And that's why we're so set back now as a race. Because if our parents don't teach us, the damn school system ain't gonna teach us. And now we're fish out of water. We're grown adults, and we don't have no conception of how to sign a contract or what we're looking for when it comes to the acquisition of property. We have no idea of how to deal with credit. No classes on credit for 14 years. Come on, I've been teaching my daughters about credit from the time that they were able to write, giving them a concept of credit, giving them a concept of debt, letting them invest in toys that they wanted, or even the Xbox and the PlayStation, letting them understand what collateral is, and they had to collateralize their assets. Doing this from young with my children, with the understanding that I can't rely on the school system to prepare them for the real world: food, clothing, and shelter. It's a fact. It's an absolute fact. And the system is setting you up to fail anytime you can go 14 years through schooling, get a diploma, and know nothing about food, clothing, and shelter. You've heard of it. You buy clothes. Can you make your own? You spend money. Did they teach you about saving it? Of course not. So ultimately, school's preparing you to get a job. People who know better will hire you, and you will just be there, neither here or there. You just be at the disposal of people who know better than you. This is the issue. So wealth builds perception, or wealth in itself is perception, and poverty is distortion. So you see a lot of people that turned around and they said, man, a lot of people turn around and they say, Brother Polight, you changed since you left the community. And then I oftentimes wonder, should I be the same person from Brownsville and Beverly Hills? So that's kind of weird. I always wonder, what do people mean by Brother Polight, you changed? As if it's a bad thing. Should I be the same Brooklyn brother from Brownsville in Beverly Hills? Of course not. But many people would like you to believe that this should be my standpoint. This should be my mentality. What's up, family? So we got a lot. We got a lot that we got to do. We got a lot that we got to learn. It's not even that windy out here, so I don't even understand what's going on. Let me see if I can fix something for you, because it's really not that windy. Can you all hear me? Press 9 if you can hear me clearly. Press 9 if you can hear me clearly. I know it's a slight delay, so if you hear me say it 2 or 3 times, that's because I'm just waiting for people to say, press the number 9. There you go. Okay, good. So long as people can hear me, that's good. So what I was saying in the last live stream, or the last live feed, I was telling y'all that in this world, if I want to box, I get a trainer. If I have a problem with anger or domestic violence, I get a counselor. Right? Relationship problems, we get a counselor. We might get a therapist. We might get a psychiatrist. Sports, we get a coach. And in other instances, young folks, sometimes they get mentors. But when it comes to wealth, where is the assistance? We just out there by ourselves. So we box and we get a trainer, and we have relationship issues and we get a therapist, anger management, counselors, coaches. But when do you get a coach or somebody to say, man, I know something that you don't know. I've been there before you got there. And I mean, as much as I know and as much as you all give me credit for knowing things, I got people in my team that put me onto game, and it helps expand my perspective. And that's why I'm telling you, wealth brings about a whole new perception. And poverty, in every sense, is a form of distortion, because it limits you to your ability to perceive things from a wider and broader perspective. So people who don't travel versus people who do travel, their perspective and their perception of the world is totally different. It's totally different. And so when you find people that travel and interface with different communities and different cultures, and not only that they travel as an entrepreneur. They tend to have very valuable advice. They tend to be able to give you more quality information than other people. That's the deal. Whereas in other instances, you find that people who don't travel, they're very limited and very judgmental about the people who do travel. Okay, that's normally the conversation. It's normally a matter of the haves and the have-nots. And the people that put themselves in the have-not position tend to castigate the people who apparently have. This is very often that this happens. Very often. All right, so there's a lot to be said about that. Insurance from pre-K to 12th grade. I'm going to stress this all the time, every time we have these conversations. From pre-K, we'll just relax now. From pre-K to 12th grade, guess what? Let me see if I can get some light on. Let me see. Let's try to fix this thing right here. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. That might work better. So from pre-K to 12th grade, what you find is that no one teaches us about insurance either. How to securitize the situation for our children and our family members or our spouses in the event something happens to us. And then when we learn a little bit about insurance, it's on the fly. Somebody probably walked into a store you was in and wanted to sit down and talk to you about insurance, but never did we figure out, you know what? Never did we figure out, dang, maybe I should learn about other types of insurance, like the ones where you could borrow against the policy and benefit from the insurance while you're still alive today. An example of that would be whole life insurance. Okay, so you got whole life insurance, which would be a real good type of insurance. So you have group universal, okay, where several people at a time can be invested in the same policy and also benefit from it while they're alive. We're talking about borrowing against the policy. So this is a phraseology that's used and is customarily used when it comes to being able to use insurance policies for the purposes of paying off a debt, particularly a medical bill, student loan, and or even investing in property. Y'all should be able to hear me clearly now, because I don't feel no wind right now. I don't know, the phone is super sensitive to what little wind is going on today. But maybe I'll just have to talk louder. Can you hear me now? I want to make sure you definitely can hear me. Okay, good. You hear me loud and clear. So, I mean, the wind may blow periodically. I'm going to just keep the flow going. And you'll make it out. And I'll repeat certain things again on the next stream. But it's very important that we understand that my perspective of the world is going to be very different because I left. So I'm not going to have the same perspective as my brothers in the Black Power community who still live in the hood. Many people say, Polight, you changed. And yes, I did change, but watch this. I believe the more appropriate word would be I grew, and I'm still growing. This change has this very negative connotation, like my change was imposed or it came about due to compromise, and that I don't want to happen. I don't want people to take it on in that standpoint. So I would like to say that I've grown, and I have a different approach towards people, places, and things and circumstances. Whereas what I believe, the people who really change are the people that I know that's doing a lot of the complaining that I saw as friends at some point or the other. But there we go in economics. A friend is one who's willing to invest in you, or one you're willing to invest in. That's a friend. That's a friend. One who's willing to invest in you, or one you're willing to invest in. And if that be the case, most of us don't have friends. And if you have a best friend, that's because you both are mutually benefiting from each other on a regular basis. So that's real. That's real. And so the people that I think change the most are the people who watch me grow. You see how that works? Because growth denotes change, but it denotes a specific form of change. And it's normally progressive. So with my growth came the change of the people that were watching me and thus poverty created a distortion in their viewpoint of who I am and what I was. So I'm like, you know why? Y'all changed, because before you would have never done a video on me as your friend. But as I've grown in popularity and I've moved away, some of that familiarity has dissipated. Some of that covenant or that bond we shared as brothers has dissipated. So now the manner in which you deal with me is very different from the manner in which you used to deal with me. So who changed? Because I still keep the same ethics and the same codes for my brothers. But they haven't kept the same codes of brotherhood for me. And that must be in light of my growth. I grew further apart from people who are not aspiring down the same direction. Yes, the same direction. I'm talking about the same direction. What do I mean by the same direction? Watch this. The same direction, namely, is this. If you're not studying what I'm studying, interested in what I'm interested in as far as investing is concerned, then guess what happens? We're going to grow apart, because as I've created a culture around the way that I spend and the way that I save, I've created a culture around something that my family practices on a day-to-day basis. We've changed some of the meaning of words so that we can be empowered by the invocation of the newly found definition. So like, for instance, we'll look at the word save, and I'll say, oh, I know the wind's blowing. Hold on. Let me let the wind blow, so you don't got to tell me. You can get my books from IamBrotherPolight.com, IamBrotherPolight.com. And if you're interested in purchasing any the consultations, just hit me up at brotherpolight45@gmail.com. That's Polight, brother, Polight, brother, Polight 45@gmail.com if you're interested in the consultations and or the mentorship program. Yes, the mentorship program, it costs. I tell people this all the time, because I get a lot of emails and people say, I want you to mentor me, and then I tell them the fee, and then they go, whoa. But I'm like, come on, you can't think I can mentor everybody. Then, I mean, how much time would I have left in the day? So throughout the course of the mentorship program, I walk you through the process and different ideas, different strategies that you can employ. I send you in the direction of where the insurance guy is at. I send you in the direction where the fund manager guy is at. You know, I don't really have my hands in it per se, but I help you gain perspective. And get you in the right direction. All of our goals idealistically should be to have at least 9 streams of income. And I know it sounds overwhelming. 9 streams of income. It must sound wild. It must sound wild to have 9 streams of income, but that's what we're going to have to do. I mean, 9 doesn't have to be the limit, but it's ideal. You want to have 9 streams of income. And like I said, you want to transcend that poverty line. And poverty line for me is anything under 150 grand. Why? Because poverty begins for a family of 4 at $32,000 a year, for an individual at $15,000 a year, and wealth begins at 150 grand a year. So in between poverty and wealth, there's well over $100,000. So I just call it all poverty until I get to 150. I call it all poverty. So just keep that in mind. The mentorship fee varies. The consultation, shorter form of the mentorship, obviously, by the hour. Consultations by the hour is $200. In person is $300. But we, when we talk about mentorship, we talking about taking things to the next level. We talking about growing into wealth, whereby each of us is supposed to be able to partition our income by a third. We all supposed to be able to invest a third of our income. But many of us, if we took a third of our income and invested it, we probably have little to nothing. So we got to get out of that situation. It's very dangerous. And so someone asks, how can we develop 9 streams of income if the system isn't designed for us? If the system isn't designed for you, then create a business based on that design. Create businesses based on the lack of the design. How about that? You can make a business out of anything. I mean, right now, they have sold you water. They sold you air. They'll tell you the air is polluted, and then they'll get you humidifiers. They pollute the water, and then they sell you the clean water. You feel what I'm saying? Fire's for free, but they still sell you on gas so you can cook your food. You understand what I'm saying? So if you find that the system is not designed for us, then you can create incomes based on the lack of the design as you create an outlet for other people and you monetize it. You see how that works? They create the liability, so he who creates the liability simultaneously can produce the remedy. Now, in this particular case, there's so much chaos going on. Like, look, for instance, I have a fee for my consultation. You know why? Because life is hell for us, because we've been poorly educated. So I've created a business at midst of the liability. So you could create streams of incomes. You see, that's me just being totally honest with you. You can create streams of incomes based on where you see the problem. Wherever you see a problem, you can monetize the remedy. It's your right. Because if you don't monetize the remedy, somebody else is going to monetize the remedy. And the beauty is, if you see a unique way to seep through or get out of the hindrances that's been imposed upon us, then you have a monopoly on that rationale. You have a monopoly on that remedy. And the number one goal when you create a business is to have a monopoly on that genre or that aspect of business. It's the number one thing that makes a business successful. The closer your business is to a monopoly, the more successful you become. Yeah, so again, you hit me up at brotherpolight45@gmail.com. Remember, Polight is spelled pride, optimism, love, integrity, talent, honesty, and trust. Yeah, it's real. So yeah, so don't be down on yourself and say, man, how the heck do we set up 9 streams of income and the system is designed to go against us? Well, one of the streams of income could be, hey, the system is designed to go against us. Buy black. And you know, it was a good strategy, but now that market is super saturated. The whole buy black market is so filled up now that so many people are buying black and buying the same type of products that black people create that is not that lucrative. So now what I would suggest is that we learn how to produce products that other races can also invest in or patronize without consideration to race. Like if I made toilet paper and I solicit the sale of toilet paper, chances are races, most people don't think about the race that created the toilet paper. Unless you want to put some red, black, and green toilet paper on the market, that'd be a little crazy. Because no one wants ink on their ass, I can tell you that. But if you create products that's not sensitive to race, then you created an opportunity for several people to patronize you. I hope that makes sense. So you want to produce products that appeal to everybody. What you do with your money is your business. So you want to take your funding from your toilet paper that all races like to purchase. You can use that and empower your black community, starting with your immediate family. I'm just speaking to the brother or the sister that said, how can we have 9 streams of income when the system is designed to tear us down? So I'm just giving you perspective. Sometimes our biggest problem is that we're so ethnocentric that we want to produce everything exclusively for us and by us. And that is not the working model for communities that become successful. In fact, it's the very opposite. Communities that are successful tend to sell to damn near everyone else. They take those resources that they accumulate from selling to everyone else, and then they create unique products that speak to the specific interests and needs of the people that live within the confines of their community. That's what goes on. That's what it is. That's what it is. So they said that it sounds clearer when I'm laying down. maybe I need to, I'm gonna walk over to a different area. Maybe it's, this problem may be a little more scientifically rooted than we thought. I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna walk over here and see how we looking over here. Man, there's people here today, man. I like to be up here for Dolo. I did the stream yesterday over here, but it was rather early. Yeah. How we doing? It's the mic. Yeah, so it's about perspective. It's all about perspective. So I'm gonna tell you another perspective. I'll tell you another perspective that we struggle with. Again, we so pro-black. We want to be so exclusive to our race that's the trick. You should be sitting in your house challenging yourself to make products that non-blacks want, because most of the rest of the world is other than your race. How about that? Every race has established the fact that they should sell to the rest of the world. Then they could use the momentum from the revenue that they generated in light of their successful business and turn that over to who? Turn that over to their own community for the products that are sensitive or specific to the interests and needs of their people. And so when we talk about gentrification, I always tell people I'm down with that. We should go into other communities and gentrify them, because other communities' property value is a lot higher than most of our property values. So when they say buy back the block, I'm like, maybe. I'm more into buy their block, because it's making money. So why can't I be the landlord of a building in a prospering community? Take the money from that building and then put those monies into my community. So why, we could buy back the block, or we can buy their block. I'm into buy their block. That's my movement. Buy their block. I think we're gonna have to do a stream later on today, and it's gonna be called "I Am Pro Gentrification," because we act like gentrification is a design or working model that is exclusive to black people being afflicted. No, if people are doing nothing with their community or not taking advantage of an opportunity in their community, and another group of people see the advantage and they have the resources, then that's all's fair in capitalism, all's fair in this construct. Don't act like you just woke up yesterday. But at the same rate, don't act like someone's stopping us as a community from going into another community and investing in a community where it's worthwhile and accumulating resources and revenue, and then deciding what we would like to do to cater to our groups, our race specific interests and needs. So I'm not into the buy back the block. Why we buy back the block that's already horrible? You set up a store there and then you're going to complain black people won't even support my business because there's no boom in the community yet. It's going to take real strategic power moves. You guys want to do one store at a time. I'm telling you, we need to individually become successful at a time, and then take that individual collective, that successful collective in a network, then we can properly gentrify. We need to gentrify. And I ain't saying gentrify other communities so we can live amongst other people. I'm saying, man, let's be the owners in prospering communities, and then take the revenue we make from those communities that's prospering and then put it into our community. You don't have to necessarily start where you are at the moment if it's kind of like hell-like conditions. I'm not against the mom and pop shop. I'm just talking to you about the bigger picture. It's just different perspective here. Buy back their block, not the block. I'm on the buy back their block. Buy low, sell high. What happened to buy low, sell high? That sounds good. It's a dream for anybody to buy low, sell high. But how many instances in time can we afford, or we afforded the opportunity to buy low, sell high? See, oftentimes you buy low, you sell low, or lower than you bought it for. That's just a fact. So you buy low, you sell low. You buy high, you sell low. You buy low, you sell low. So you just got to have an understanding of the market. So, you know, that's what people think. Oh, well, in our community, things is cheap. Look, they got this building for cheap. But what are you going to do buying buildings? The buildings are absolutely cheap for a reason. Now, unless you're planting something in the community that the community can clearly understand to be a resource. Remember, where education is very low, it's hard for businesses, unique businesses, to thrive. Because most time, people have unique businesses that offer resources that people definitely need. The community has to be educated enough to be responsive to the opportunity. So the level of communication is very low in the community. So will the likeliness of the income that you generate because people are not cognizant enough of what you're offering them. And this is something that happens to black people all the time. We normally have people in our community that are brilliant, that have amazing ideas, but the community isn't educated enough to be responsive to the ideas that they're introducing to their community. So then the business fails. It closes. Okay? And when I said 9 streams of income, I never said that each stream of income has to make you over $32,000 a year. If you have 9 streams of income, then shit, if one only brings you $5,000-$6,000 a year, that ain't bad if it's 1 out of 9. Because if all 9 incomes made you $5,000, where would you be? You'd be at $45,000, which would be very low if you have 9 streams of income only make you $5,000 a year. But nonetheless, you'd be working your way out of that poverty line. So you believe black people can go into other communities and buy some stake in it, but in some instances, some of these communities only sell to their community. I beg to differ. I've come to find that a lot of times we're not being blocked because a lot of times we're not even interested. There isn't nearly enough of us trying to purchase. I'm going to tell you something. Money is a very powerful tool. And for the right dollar, most people sell out any goddamn way, no matter how religious they are. I'm going to tell you that. What I will say is things may be sold to us for more money than that of the likes of who they would sell to from their own race, and that's part of the game. When we get to that part of the game, we got to do the same thing. But we ain't going to complain. I'm not going to complain if someone wants to sell something to me for more money because I'm not a member of their race. We just got to get the money. We just got to get the bread. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, ain't nobody really stopping us from buying real estate. No one's really going out their way. We've been miseducated so we can make the wrong decisions when we purchase real estate. That's a big part of the game. Big part of the game is being extended lines of credit and loans and mortgages that we can't afford, that the people selling to us know that we can't afford in the first place. That's the deal. Not knowing what types of loans to get. There's loans out there that you don't necessarily have to pay back. And like I said, it brings us back to school because school has done a heck of a job preoccupying our time for 14 years, giving us this false pretense that, now that I graduated, I'll be able to do something. And then what happens next? I'm going to have to go to college. Because I'm going to tell you this, by the time you get a high school diploma, you should already have a business. If your child is in school and they don't have a business in their last year of school, you're already messing up. I'm going to say it again. If you're in school, if you're in high school, and the only thing you could do when you get a diploma is look for a job, you're already messed up. You're already a statistic. I ain't say all people sell out, so don't say that's not true, bro. Now all people sell out. And I hope that's not the way you're telling us. But why not inform them on gold and silver? Man, cut it out. First of all, I didn't say all people sell out. I'm telling you this. Most people are not turning down money when they're in business to sell. If someone has a property that they want to sell, They're not going to, I'm not going to sell it to this nigga. What they will do is sell it for more money to him, probably. But they're not going to turn around and say, I'm not going to sell it. Now, I can't speak for everybody. But I've been around enough action. There's enough brothers and sisters that I'm around that own properties in what you would call white communities, such as the one I'm in now. You would call this a white community, but there's brothers and sisters that own properties over here. You know how they got them? They paid for it. No one just rejected their money, because the person selling it was selling it for the purposes of making money. So this is a made-up lie. This is a myth that people are making up. That people are just walking around here making sure nothing sells to you. This is the distortion of poverty. This is a poverty distortion. Come on, King. What is money, brother Polight? Cut it out. It's a form of currency. It's part of the bartering system. It's a form of exchange. Come on, we don't got time for that. We don't want to, this is the problem. We want to deal with too much philosophy when we're talking about money, man. Too much philosophy and too much speculation. Get the bread. You're going to get the spot. You don't get the one there, you're going to get the one next to it. People are not in business to make money in order for them to turn it down. They're not in business to turn down money. They're in business to make money. So we got to stop all of this blaming, victimization crap when it comes to business. It's just an excuse to believe, hey, nothing's going to work for us, so we just need to rebel and kill people. You got to stop that, man. You got to stop that. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Some wealthy neighborhoods, no matter how much money we have, they ain't gonna let us get in. So who cares about them? It's not the whole neighborhood, man. How are you gonna say the whole neighborhood is not trying to make money from somebody? Let me explain something to you. If there's a neighborhood where there's property available and somebody's in business to make money, they're not gonna sit there and say, well, I'm gonna just leave these buildings vacant for as long as I can leave them. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so come on. We got to stop thinking that something's always working against us. That's why that mentorship program is there, so you can get your bread and grow and realize that a lot of what we've been saying is a myth. A lot of what we've been saying in this community is black mythos. You've been taught by so many broke leaders that you believe nobody's going to help you. That's right. You've been taught by so many broke leadership, so much broke leadership, that they got you thinking everything's against you all the time. No, if I go in a good community, they're not going to sell nothing to me. How do you know that? How many times have you went into a good community and actually tried to purchase a property? Where are you getting this idea from? From the stories and the folklore of broke black revolutionaries. Because if you were to ask them, how many times did you try to purchase a property? Now, you know, people go on text and write, please, I've seen people write, man, all my friends got millions of dollars. And I'm like, great, where's yours?